So this is audio gauge results. The particular boat that I was looking at, it was first tried to look at it with a normal audio gauge that couldn't go through paint. This one that I used actually could. That's why I ended up getting the job. Coast Guard came in a little bit later and said, okay, whenever you find an area jack that is thinner than what it should be, go ahead and take other measurements. Do concentric rings going around until you find an area where you don't have excess wastage. This is the area that had to be cut out. So in this particular case, the boat that was going back to Melbourne, the guy called me because he said, man, I hauled my boat out and I have a leak in one area and I'm really concerned. I'm going to be making a long journey back. I need to know if I've got other problems. So I used a combination of the infrared because he didn't have the Scantling design. You know, he could tell me what the original thickness was, but he really couldn't give me anything to take a look at to let me know what was going on. Access inside the boat was not great, so I really couldn't spend time to go through the boat and find out where all the frames were. What I did is I was able to use infrared on that day because of the different thicknesses of the metal, actually get an idea of where water tanks were and other areas. In that particular case, I was looking for cool areas because most of us understand that it's the wet areas inside that are going to start corroding from the inside out. So I was able to go through the entire boat and do the audio gauging, but in addition to that, was able to show him an image, a thermal image pattern, that also gave him a little bit of a better feeling than just a few 1-inch square diameter measurements on the boat. It turned out well. And the other boat, the sailboat, you saw how the pattern for the thermal imaging was irregular. So you could say, man, that looks like an area I definitely need to be looking at when I'm doing my audio gauging. Question here, sir.
Jack, how'd you check the weld beads?
I didn't check the weld bead on that case. What I'm showing you in this particular case is the results. It's not, I'm not trained to do weld analysis or weld beads and stuff like that. Just trying to give you the idea that sometimes you can use two different technologies to give somebody a really good idea of what kind of work they're going to have to be doing. I'm sorry, you're from?
I'm from Mexico. Gary Goldstein from Mexico.
Another question? Yes, sir.
Rick Briggs from San Francisco. You made a point of emphasizing that the irregular area was a possible subject for corrosion.
Correct.
So you're looking for squared off lines that people would normally construct a boat. Could you use that same technology to examine a fuel tank, which is a big part of the issue I face out in the Bay Area?
You certainly could, and what I'm saying is it's a better set of eyes. Sometimes, you know, I think there was an interesting post on Boat Pokers not too long ago saying, look, you know, I'm looking at infrared imaging and I'm really good with my percussion hammer. And I found out that I'm finding the same things that the guy with the thermal imaging was. But the difference was he was able to find it a lot quicker than me. So, like I say, it's not the only technology out there, but sometimes it gives you a good idea of where to be looking. Is there another question? Yes, Mr. Mooney.
Yes, I was just going to explain to him because he was saying that, you know, this is on fuel tanks and stuff. You know, one of the audio gauges that I use is an intrinsically safe unit, and I bought it specifically because that I did a lot of testing on tankers. In fact, I did an entire propane field one time. Must have been 400 propane tanks there, you know, in which you need the intrinsically safe, like if you were doing the fuel tank there, and that's, you know, not with the infrared, but with the audio gauge, is required in a shipyard to have one, rather than, you know, it's not that it's going to blow up, but it's a required thing, and I just thought I'd bring that point up on you.
So as Bob said, there are different types of technologies out there. I wouldn't be using that Cygnus 3 data logger. in a place where I had explosive fumes. One more question and we'll move on. Yes, Gary Frankovich from Jacksonville, Florida.
Did you have to apply any heat to that sailboat?
I did not. The question was, did I have to apply any heat to the sailboat? This was that thing about the science and the, in the art form. It was the right temperature, outside, exterior for me to see it. Was I there to do infrared? Heck no, I was there to do the audio gauge. But I was smart enough to bring out my camera at the same time and say, gee, is there anything else I can see? Oh my God, look at this. Here's an area that is suspect, and it also is showing a thermal pattern. So sometimes you stumble into these things. What I'm going to do is move on, I guess, because we're getting close to 11. And we can either take a short break. How are we doing for a biological break? Do you want to do that? Okay, let's do that. Let's take a short 10-minute break. And for people that want to see the Cygnus data logger, please come on up here and have a peek. After that, we're going to go back to the airborne technology.